Hello and welcome to A Live to Work.
I am Kate,
And I'm Tina.
and
And
today we're going to take you. Oh, look, we're so enthusiastic. Today we're going to take you on a voyage of
oh,
discovery.
and we're discovering the best ways to give and receive feedback.
Today we're going to do this in a helicopter.
Excellent. That sounds really good. I like the idea of helicoptering above the idea of feedback and thinking how we can be really resourceful in giving it and receiving it. So yeah.
Yes, and actually, a helicopter will prove useful, which I'll explain why as we go.
Oh,
So
good.
come on, Latina, let's get on with it.
So when people think about the word feedback, if I had 100 people and I said, I'd like you all to come into a private space with me and have some feedback, a lot of people would be having almost like an emotional, visceral reaction. What feedback?
Oh,
What's
those palpitations, it's those words. Oh, can I just have a word?
mm, mhm. Because we're
Mm.
almost programmed to think that this feedback is going to be difficult or negative or something we don't want to hear. So Kate and I'd just like to start by mentioning that actually lots of feedback is really positive, and
Yes.
it's a really good thing as a manager, leader, colleague to give positive feedback often. And we will be having a separate episode on praise, but it's really, really healthy to give people feedback which is positive and about things that have gone well.
Yes. Yes. The focus on this one is those areas that we can improve.
Mm, mm.
Those those times when somebody said, "Oh, well, we could have done that a little bit better." And remember that feedback actually comes in lots of different forms.
Mm, mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I think if you can take yourself into a good headspace, and Kate and I want to mention, it's really useful to, if you haven't already listened to January the 15th episode about being above and below the line, and January the 29th episode, which is about the most resourceful you, they're things that could be super useful when going into a situation when either you're going to give feedback or you're going to be on receive.
Yeah, and it's also important to remember that any feedback that we receive, whether we like it or not, is designed to improve our practice.
Hmm.
It's not just there just because. So there's a reason, and it's designed to make us better at what
Yeah.
we do.
It's like a human thing, isn't it? I was thinking that if you tickle a baby and it laughs and giggles at you in those early days when it's just finding its emotions and its reactions, you've got some feedback. You've done some tickling and you've got some feedback. If you
Mm.
tickled a baby and it cried, you'd think, oh, you don't like that. So we get feedback all the time, all
Yeah,
the time. And it's only when we get feedback that somehow gives us a feeling of discomfort that we go into a sort of strange place in our heads, and we might stop listening to it, or we might not be on receive from the point of view of what's useful about this.
yeah, yeah. And remembering again, everything is a learning experience.
Mm.
So what do we do then? You've hauled me into the office, Tina. Oh, again, because I've been naughty. I mean, to be fair, listeners, I've been hauled into the office on more than one occasion for various different things. I'm a rebel. A rebel, I tell you.
Well, I would certainly want you to feel comfortable because, I'd be looking at your tone of voice and I'd be looking at your body posture and seeing kind of where you're at when you get in the room. I'd be checking out myself and making sure I'm in a good place for this conversation I want to have with you. So let's get comfortable, let's take a seat if we can. Let's say, set the scene for I've got time for this conversation. So that would be a good starting place, I think, wouldn't it? And I've had so many conversations and you probably have, Kate, over the years, with people who are going, oh, well, this has been going on for years and no one's spoken to Fred about this and this is terrible. And you're like, God, it's festered for this long and everyone's
Yeah,
putting energy into the situation. But actually, the energy it would take to just face up to and deal with it might in the end be better all round. So
yeah,
we tend to find that if we just don't give feedback and we let things fester, um, especially if they're things that we feel could be improved, that's not going to help the situation. And deep in our hearts, we know that, really. So,
yeah,
you know, it's a good place, isn't it, to start to say to somebody, let's be comfortable. This is a conversation about feedback. Um, but what I'm hoping is that some growth and change will come from this that feels
mm,
okay.
yeah. I've got a nice little story about this one, Tina. So, as listeners, as you know, I do a lot of agency nursing. And I was recently at a place where they had had a troublesome patient who, I mean, to be fair, this could be anywhere, couldn't it?
Mm,
Because we've all worked in places where these patients, they come back and they're not necessarily the nicest, passive aggressive, quite verbally abusive to staff. And I'd heard about this person. And I was like, well, let's see what happens if if as and when I meet them. And I did meet them. And I knew I was going to see this person. And I was like, right then. Oh, I was gearing up, Tina. I was ready. And you know what? They were as nice as pie.
mm,
They were, it was 180-degree difference from what I had been told about this person. Bear in mind, they are a patient. And they said to me, oh, did you hear about me then? I said, oh, yes, I did. I said, I did indeed. I heard all about you. And they said to me, yes, well, the nurse in charge had a word with me. And I thought about what she said. And I'm a good patient now. And I thought, you know what, you are. Because I was ready to
mm,
be like, defend my castle and all of that kind of stuff. Nice
mm.
as pie, absolute as nice as pie. And, you know, is somebody that I would have a proper and genuine conversation with.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of reasons, aren't they, for our behaviour and what we might be doing. And maybe that conversation helped the person think about their behaviour. And
Yeah.
behaviour can be informed by fear, by all sorts of stuff emotionally that make us react in a certain way. And I think when you come to giving feedback, that is so helpful to think, let's feedback about the behaviour, not the person. So you're not a bad person, Fred. This behaviour that you've developed for whatever reason, that's not the behaviour we need. And that's not the behaviour
Yes.
that's helping. So looking down all the time at the reception desk when people come in and never looking up and making eye contact with them is meaning we're getting lots and lots of feedback about a frosty feeling in reception.
Yeah.
And actually, you are an incredibly helpful person, but maybe you're not, is there a reason why this is happening? And this behavior of not looking up and then smiling and engaging with people when they come in the door. And the Fred might say, I'm just quite shy, or I find it difficult, or last year somebody screamed and shouted at me and grabbed me by the collar. There could be a reason. So, let's focus on the behavior and not make the person feel that they're a bad person.
Yeah. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the helicopter comes in. So what we wanting to do is to kind of get you to step away from that situation. So let's say I'm on the receiving end of the feedback and I am taking it incredibly personally. I've got my anxiety has just gone woo, and I've got palpitations as a result. Nobody wants that. So it's almost dissociating yourself from the situation and looking down and saying, okay, so there's these two people and they're having a conversation. Person X is telling person Y what they could have done better. Okay. Okay.
Mm. Yeah. And I think
And
that's so important, Kate, that like pulling away from the emotion of it and seeing it for what it is. It's a conversation that hopefully someone's having really well with you, and they're trying to find a way to help you grow and improve and for it to be better. And then you can really help them with that. So you can do what Kate said and really try not to take it personally. And you can listen to understand. So like they're telling you and you're right, okay, I'm really going to try and understand what they're saying here. You could also seek clarification. So when they say something, you know, what can sometimes happen is somebody goes, well, you know, on last Thursday when you came on duty, this happened. And the person goes, well, I think you'll find I wasn't on duty on Thursday because I swapped with somebody. And you say, oh, and they'll go, oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, you're right. It was Wednesday. But perhaps in a less defensive way, perhaps in a more kind of open way, you could ask a similar question like, can I just see some clarity? Did you mean Thursday? Because I swapped my shift. And they could go, oh gosh, no, actually I meant Wednesday. So seek clarity for the things that you're confused about in a good way and thank them and say, thank you. You know, it's not easy to give feedback, is it? And I'm really grateful for the conversation. And then focus on what could be different. What could I be doing different? What could be better? You know, if you need help with that, ask for help with that. Say, well, I don't know how to do that.
yeah,
What, you know, the thing you're looking for. So just participate in the feedback from your what can you do point of view.
yeah. It's also important to take a look at yourself. You
Mm,
know, even if it means looking at yourself in the mirror and going, okay, I I heard, I listened and I heard about what was being said. And let's just say I'm not good enough at something. And that can be a hard and bitter pill to swallow, can't it?
mm.
But sometimes going, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's something I need to work on. And that's your personal growth.
Absolutely. And I can think back, and I'm sure you can, Kate, at times in my life when I wasn't particularly good at certain things, the
Oh
younger
no,
me.
Tina, I've been awesome at everything my entire life.
She got her O levels when she was 2, GCSEs when she was 4. So yeah, you know, there's times in our lives that we have had to learn and grow and learn how to do stuff. So why wouldn't that always be true? You know,
Yeah.
so I love what you're saying. It's like a growth mindset. You're saying, okay, you know, yeah, maybe this could be better, and I need to learn how to do this a bit better, and I'm open to that. So I love that. I think when you give the feedback as well, remember the following, you know, focus on the specifics. Try not to use phrases like, you always, you know, are late. And the person will therefore react quite strongly to that and go, well, I wasn't late on this day, and this day. So don't say always, have a specific occasion or situation in mind and talk about that as an example of when it's like that, that wasn't great or helpful, or of course you could be being positive. And if it creates feelings, then, you know, it's that how it makes you feel. So that kind of like, and when that happens, you know, patients are saying it makes them feel uncomfortable, or I
Mhm.
think I would feel uncomfortable. So feelings can be drawn into it and then you're owning it. So I think they're just our top tips. Any final thoughts, Kate, before we land our helicopter?
Final thoughts. Feedback helps you grow.
Hmm.
It can change you personally and professionally for the better.
Hmm.
And if you are in a place where you want promotion and you're looking at taking that next step up, actually, whilst you're receiving any form of feedback, think about how you could be giving your feedback to somebody else.
Yeah. I think for anyone seeking to be a good colleague, if you have, if people have knowledge around you, like it's so easy to talk to Kate because she always takes it so well, you know, whether you're telling her she's amazing as we often do, or whether you're saying this is something which could be better, it's always easy to talk to her about it. Who wouldn't want colleagues to talk about them like that? Yeah. So, landing the helicopter. Thank you, everybody. Please do give us comments and feedback. Kate and I are very up for it, as you've heard, and we would really like you to share the podcast. Tell us of any episode ideas you've got, things you'd like to hear more about. Anything else, Kate?
No, just the same old. Have an amazing day, everyone.
Yeah, let's end there. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening. This has been A Lift to Work with Kate and Tina. Please subscribe, like, and share. Comments and questions are most welcome.
And please remember, this is a light-hearted coaching podcast designed to stimulate your thinking. It's not designed to treat any mental health issues. So if you need additional professional help, please do see a qualified practitioner. Take care, and we'll see you next time.